It's Saturday night in the Emerald City, and the Seattle Nemesis, fresh off their first win in franchise history, return to their home field to play their third straight game in the Rain City in the Pacific Northwest. Hello and a very warm welcome to Darkwood Stadium. My name is Michael Cirillo. Aaron Alexander is alongside me. We've also got Tristan Hadley and Rochelle Colston on stats for us this evening. A winning streak for the first time in team history is on the line for Seattle tonight as they welcome in a team that hasn't picked up a win since week 3, the Motor City V8s. Aaron, these are two teams that are not going to sniff the playoff race this year, but plenty to play for on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Seattle at this point is basically playing for pride. They got a huge win last week against Canton, on their home turf in an absolutely spectacular game. Motor City has struggled as of late since that win against Sioux Falls back in week 3. But if Seattle's not careful, we could see Motor City just air the ball out over the heads of their secondary.
Sure what you're looking at, those are the city uniforms for Motor City. They are a tribute in color to the Detroit Lions and a tribute in logo and uniform style to their former identity as the St. Louis Gladiators. Either way, they'll be in blue, Seattle in the dark gray and neon green. The Nemesis will receive the kick from Caleb Richards, and we are underway from Seattle. Thank you for spending your Saturday evening with us, as always, as we go late into the night here on Twitch. Seattle will take the field first here as their starting offense. Trellis Blanton at quarterback, Jalen Wells at running back, Scott Powell at fullback, Zachary Patton, Dean Jackson, David Gears, and T. Duqueen are the wide receivers. Tight end, Paulie Truth. And at tackle is Sean Sullivan. Blanton on first down into the flat. That pass is complete. Zachary Patton picks up a couple of yards. Motor City's starting defense. Doug Howard, Dakota Butts, Mike Ballot on the defensive line. Rodney Panati, Timothy Connolly, Sabo Kanan at linebacker, along with Matthew Holford, Mark Kaufman, Dion Lane Burney, Ty White and King Rashid at corner, David Leathers and Nicholas Warner at safety. Second down and 7. That pass is tipped and off the hands of the defender. King Rashid almost had a pick. Dion Lane Barney was the one who tipped it up to him, but it is third down.
Yeah, there was ample opportunity for Motor City to intercept that ball in the tip drill, but unfortunately, it seems here early the V8s are suffering from a bit of Stonehand syndrome.
Big third down here early in the ball game. Seattle trying to move the chains for the first time. Blanton deep over the middle, and it is dropped by Patton. Had him wide open. The safeties were playing too deep, but it is fourth down and a 3-and-out for the Nemesis.
Yeah, I think Blanton just may have misinterpreted the speed or the route of Patton there, because that ball, to me at least, looked like it was a bit overthrown, as Lilac Butte's going to come out to punt this ball away as the Motor City V8s get a 3-and-out.
Butte, a rookie. There are a lot of them on this Seattle team. Kicker Christian Ronald Sue is also a rookie. The punt will be returned, but not for very many yards, as Motor City will start from their own 38-yard line. The V8s have a deep offensive starting unit. Ibrahim Krieta is the quarterback, Baloo Scott the running back, Christopher Dean at fullback, Shane Kaufman and Arain Darby at wide receiver. 3 tight ends, including Azame Mehata, Phil Cause, and Guy Clausen. And on the offensive line, it's the McMillans, Bill, Phil, and Gil. Kriata floats it into the flat pass, complete to Shane Kaufman, and 7-yard pickup on first down. Kriata, despite the team's record, is the completion leader in terms of number of completions and attempts in the league this season. But for all those 448 passing attempts and 309 completions, he only has 12 touchdown passes. Second down, handoff to Baloo Scott. She runs left, falls forward, and picks up a first down. Here's the Seattle starting defense. Sean Parent, Aaron Stein, Greg Ward, and Catherine Horrell are on the defensive line. And the other two Horrells, KT and David, are at linebacker along with Matthias Citron. Daniel Valentine and Ethan Kai at corner, Devin Smoker, Brady Clark, and Nana Leahy at safety. Only a three-step drop for Creator into the flat shaken tackle by Scott, and she will once again gain a hefty chunk of yardage on first down.
Yeah, it's nice to see that Baloo Scott is still very, very capable of running people over, like she was during her championship run with the Albuquerque Adams in the last minor league season.
As a fourth-round pick out of Albuquerque to Motor City. A couple of other draft picks on this Motor City roster as well as Scott. That is the fullback Christopher Dean in his second season. Goes up the middle and is stopped short of the line to gain third down and 2. Azawi Mihata out of Ottawa, that was their first-round selection. Kanan and Connolly, Barney, and White on the defense are all rookies as well. Loaded to the far side and keeping the feet inbounds, no. The receiver did not keep his feet inbounds. Phil Cause, the recipient of that pass, and it is 4th and 2.
A part of me expects to see a challenge flag on that potentially from the Motor City bench. But with how early it is in the game, it looks like they're going to actually try to make Seattle jump with a bit of a hard count here.
Try and draw him off sides. Got 10 seconds to get it done. And the V8s will indeed call timeout and punt the ball back to Seattle. These two teams offensively have sputtered a little bit this season, only scoring 17 and 18.7 points per game for the V8s and Nemesis respectively.
Yeah, they've definitely struggled getting into the end zone. Seattle did a good job of it that last week against Canton. Jalen Wells, the halfback, with a hat trick of touchdowns in that game. Trellis Blanton, the first-round rookie, also out of Albuquerque, had a touchdown in that game as well. The Nemesis looking for both of them to have a repeat performance this week against the V8s.
Jalen Wells actually playing for his second expansion team, the Seattle running back. Was the premier back for the San Diego Mavericks when they came into the league. Originally started as a fullback up in, up in Sioux Falls, running behind Colin Hart for those couple of championship game runs that the Sparrows had.
1st and 10 from 5-yard line.
Nice punt by John Pickles from Motor City, puts Seattle at their own 5-yard line. Offset eye strong side to the right. But handed off to the fullback. That's Scott Powell, a rookie out of Lexington. And he is tackled for no gain, or at least a gain of 1.
Yeah, and one of the things that Seattle did incredibly well in the first win of franchise history was a very, very balanced offense. Blanton threw for 178. Wells and Powell combined for 160 on the ground. So if they can keep that up, I suspect good things here out of Seattle.
Second straight fullback handoff, and the V8s blow it up in the backfield, loss of 1. And it'll be 3rd down and 10. This is a situation where Seattle does not want to be backed up in the shadow of their own goalposts. Facing a 3rd and long. Trips left, single right. Wells the single back. And it will be Jalen Beanie Wells falling forward and not quite picking up the first down, but maybe giving a little bit more space for Lilac Butte.
Yeah, definitely at least a small positive there for Seattle that their punter is going to have a bit more room to work with to get this ball away. But that's a second straight 3-and-out by Motor City. So their defense, despite their struggles earlier in the season, is it's proven to be a brick wall so far for Seattle.
These two teams very similar in their offensive statistics, also very similar in their defensive statistics. Motor City giving up 32.7 points a game, Seattle giving up 32.9. That's 25th and 26th in the league, respectively.
First and 10.
Short field for the V8s here. They'll start at the Seattle 44-yard line. Under center is Creata. And he'll hand it off to Baloo Scott. She does not get anything. That was Aaron Stein, the defensive end, who made the tackle. David Horrell assisted.
Yeah, we've talked a bit about rookies. On both sides of the ball for both teams, there's a lot of rookies. Just on the V8's offensive loan, there's 6. There's 5 on Seattle's defense. Motor City's defense has 6. Seattle's offense has 5. It's a lot of young talent on both of these teams, and they've managed to showcase at least decently well so far this season.
That time it was a fullback dive to Dean. The Horrell of the KT variety made the stop for no gain. Now 3rd and 9. Creata, still under center. 3-step drop, time to work. He's going to float it down the field, and it's going to be incomplete. The offensive line that time did a great job giving Creata space, but in the end it was dropped. And it'll be a 3-and-out.
Yeah, the secondary here for Seattle did a great job on coverage on that one in order to prevent, I believe it was Phil Kaz, the intended target, from really getting a good hand on that pass. And Seattle now forces their own 3-and-out here as Pickle's going to come on to punt this one away again.
The V8s in the past have had very stingy defenses, especially the last 2 years where they were tops in the league in yards allowed and rushing yards allowed. 2 seasons ago and last year, they were great against the pass, only allowing 14 touchdowns through the air. That's a mark that was best in the SFL, but this year, with all the new talent on that defense, it has fallen off a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a part of it is all of the new talent that they have on the defensive side of the ball, but even still, they're smothering when it comes to their pass defense. They've only allowed 266 yards on average this season, good for 6th in the league.
To the far side, and caught for a gain of 6 on 1st down. Blanton, that was only his 2nd completion of the ball game.
Yeah, it's been a lot of runs so far for Seattle, which you kind of have to expect considering this is the 2nd straight drive they started in the shadow of their own goalposts.
The field position battle won by the V8s here early on. Another offset eye. Fullback dive again, snuffed out by the silver and blue wave. Rodney Panani, the 9-season veteran, formerly of Houston, makes the tackle, and it's 3rd and 4.
Yeah, and Seattle's been giving Powell a very heavy feeding in this one. He didn't get a lot of work last week against Canton, only 4 carries for 10 yards. He's already almost met the carry attempts in this one already.
Blanton has a receiver come open late in the route and finds Zachary Patton for the first nemesis 1st down of the evening. Scott Powell, you mentioned, only 20 carries for 40 yards on the season coming into tonight, so as opposed to Wells' 138 for 503 and 5 touchdowns.
And I mean, you have to think a lot of these teams that have fullbacks contracted on their rosters will typically use them more as a blocking piece or an additional receiver out of the backfield, as we see here on this Wells run that goes for 4.
That was strong side left. Good blocking by the 2 tight end set. Paulie Truth in there applying a block. And it'll be 2nd down and 6. What's interesting for Motor City, and obviously the big talking point for the V8s all season long, has been their interesting offensive scheming, trying to get a more of a power run style going with the 2 tight ends. That time, A little inside handoff to Wells goes backwards for a yard, 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, and I think a part of it contributed to their early success because a lot of coaches here in the SFL aren't used to seeing teams go 3 tight ends. At most, we'll see a lot of 2 tight end setups. But Motor City has made their 3 tight end system work, just not as well as they might would have liked.
Again, the flat is open for Zachary Patton, the former Jacksonville King. And it is 4th and inches, and I don't think Seattle is going to be aggressive and go for this one at their own 25. You talk about the success early for Motor City. They did win big in their first game against Tulsa at the convention, 33-20. That's a team that is still in with a playoff shot at 5-4. Their other win is against Sioux Falls, who is also 5-4 and in with a shot at the playoffs. So they have some decent wins, but again, once coaches in the SFL kind of learned how to plan for that run-heavy triple tight end set style, I think we saw it collapse a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at some of the score lines for their past schedule, there's definitely some teams that didn't adjust to it as well as others. They almost beat Minnesota, who had a big win last night over DC. Indianapolis, unfortunately for Motor City, came in and laid just an absolute stomping on them, though, the immediate week after.
That's a nice late cross caught by Cause, and Phil Cause into Seattle territory. He's down to the 43.
Needs to change his name to Phil Cross after that. Great route by the veteran tight end. A bit wobbly on the throw from Creata, but Cause able to keep his eye on it, get a hand on it over the Seattle secondary for another Motor City first down.
Well, it's not going to win any art awards for pretty passing, but it was effective in moving the football down the field. Creata under center now, 3-step drop close to the far side, pauses there again, and he makes a 2-yard catch with the tackle by Ethan Kai.
That was Kaufman on the catch, actually, I believe, the wide receiver, who picks up a couple. It's not pretty, but sometimes if it works, and you just have to go for it.
You know what the Motor City offense reminds me of? It reminds me of the Tebow-era Florida Gators, who would just lull you to sleep getting 2 to 5 yards every play, and then they'd win the game that way because they'd hold the ball the whole time, and before you know it, there's 2 minutes left in the game, and you're down by 21, and you look at yourself and go, how did this happen?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will sleep on the time of possession style of play because, from a spectator's perspective, it's incredibly, I don't want to say boring. It's uninteresting to watch because it's usually just a lot of the same thing play after play. But and from a coaching perspective, if you're able to make it work, it's really easy to win ball games that way if you never let go of the ball.
That time, Azami Mihata dropped what would have been a first down catch, and out trots John Pickles again. Field position battle still being won by Motor City as they're going to punt from deep in Seattle territory for the 3rd time.
I mean, these punts deep inside Seattle territory have definitely helped with the field position game. I'm surprised, though, that Motor City didn't bring on Caleb Richards to try the field goal here, at least get some points on the board.
It would have been a long attempt, and that ball is just going to roll around and be down at the 7-yard line. I'd love to know Seattle's average starting field position at this point, because it has to be at least like the 10, 15 maybe?
Just doing some quick math in my head here. I'd say, yeah, probably around the 10. If we're just talking about the, from punts in general, the 7-yard line here is about the average that Seattle started at.
So they started from their own 25 at the beginning of the game, and then the 5, the 4, and now the 7. As again, a delayed handoff allows the defense to get in the backfield, and it's a loss of 2 for Jalen Wells.
Yeah, and in what may come as a shock to some, the first quarter is almost over.
Only 50 seconds in this one. No scoring yet to speak of between the V8s and the Nemesis. This time they go with no delay. The handoff just up the middle to Jalen Wells. And Jalen has always been one of those guys that you watch run, and you always think he has the potential to break out and have huge games and long runs, but it never quite seems to get that far.
And I mean, I think a part of it has to do with just the quality of specifically linebackers that we have here in the SFL. Of course, just on Seattle itself, you've got the two Horrells and Catherine and David that are really good run stoppers. Of course, E.K. Vincent out in Fort Worth, a very great run stopping linebacker in his own
right. You're
right.
going to plug Fort Worth, obviously.
Listen. It's not just because he's my teammate. Like from an outside perspective, E.K. Vincent is a really good run stopper as a linebacker.
I mean, I agree with you. I'm getting on you a little bit because you immediately went to the Fort Worth Toros. That last pass was a little bit in front of T. DeQueen, who could not make the catch. And it's going to be another end zone punt for Lilac Butte and another excellent starting field position for Seattle, or for Detroit Motor City at the Seattle 41. I'm going to stop talking and then let Aaron take over because obviously my brain is not with it tonight.
It's the uniforms look like the Detroit Lions. I get your confusion. It's fine. But so far, this one has been a very, very defensive back and forth struggle between these two teams. The only upside is Motor City has been having excellent field position because of these deep stops.
Yeah, but they can't do anything with it. The last play of the first quarter is a fullback dive to Scott Powell, who goes backwards for a loss of one. Horrell on the tackle. And that is it for the first quarter. No score between the V8s and the Nemesis. It's Saturday Night SFL football presented by APM Music, and you're watching it on Twitch. Stay tuned. Second quarter on tap. The teams switch sides. It'll be second and 11. Look at the power run formation that Motor City is in here. Only two receivers each side, but they're going to throw out of it. Creates, steps up, goes down. Undercut by Catherine Horrell, and it's going to be third and very long.
Mike, I certainly hope you're watching your back because for the second week in a row, it's a Horrell show here in Seattle.
I mean, when you got three of them on the defensive side of the ball, it's not a big stretch of the imagination. Third and long, diving grab! Laying out to make the catch is Shane Kaufman, and Motor City now down to the 22-yard line.
Yeah, the former Tacoma Grizzly just laying his life on the line almost in order to get that ball, and finally, Motor City has a deep pass play to put them just at the edge of Seattle's red zone and with a good chance at a field goal by their rookie kicker should they need to go that route.
They're going to try and keep it on the ground. A hole opened up for a second, but then it was slammed shut by David Horrell. Back to the previous play, I thought the Creator pass was going to be a little bit overthrown, but Shane Kaufman come from nowhere to lay out and make the grab.
I mean, I think you have the right of it. It was a little bit overthrown, which is why Kaufman had to lay out for it like he did.
Creator touch pass to the near side. They're going to say that Cause got a foot in bounds, 3rd and 4.
And so far, both of these teams have kind of struggled with third down efficiency. Motor City currently 1 for 4. Seattle 1 for 5.
Motor City looking to keep the chance at a opening touchdown alive, but Creator is going to get walloped as he tried to let go of the football. It's KT Horrell again, and it's 4th and 4.
Yeah, Catherine Horrell, these past two games against both Canton and here against Motor City has been an absolute menace to offensive lines. Just the ability she has to break through whatever blocking scheme is thrown at her is nigh legendary these past couple weeks here for Seattle.
Here is the rookie kicker, the Annapolis former player Caleb Richards. He puts that one up and good. And the Motor City V8s are on the board. They have a 3-0 lead. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. These strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. Seattle was started at their own 24, which will probably feel like a relief for the Nemesis after starting inside their own 10 on their last 3 drives.
Yeah,
Now
arguably the best field position Seattle has had all game.
Well, they have started at their own 25-yard line in the opening drive of the contest. Blanton in the flat to Wells, nowhere to go. First to the scene was Sabo Kanan.
Yeah, Kanan with some great pursuit out of that linebacker spot in order to get out to the flat to lay that hit on Wells. And something I just noticed too, Motor City has 3 outside linebackers in the roster.
We do indeed. Connolly, Kanan, and Holford. The 2 rookies, Connolly and Kanan, are the ones you see most often. Wells breaks a tackle, breaks a second tackle, almost sheds off a third, and gets out past the 40-yard line.
Yeah, there's a prime example of what you're talking about earlier of how Jalen Wells looks like he's just a hair or so away from breaking out a huge run, but then he just can't seem to break this Mark Kaufman tackle here in order to break that run out further. He breaks that tackle. He stands a good chance of potentially taking that all the way. He'll take a good 12-yard pickup there, though.
Seattle, the furthest down the field that they have been in the entire game at their own 42-yard line. Blanton floats it into the flat and way too far in front of Zachary Patton, having second down and 10.
Yeah, and it's been a very, very back-and-forth defensive struggle so far. Motor City's defense has been doing a great job of keeping Jalen Wells in check. Hasn't really given Blanton a lot of good pass opportunities so far in this one. The same could be said, though, of Seattle's defense as well. So far, they've only allowed that 1 field goal.
Blanton throws long, underthrown, and intercepted. Mark Kaufman, who made the touchdown-saving tackle earlier in the drive, ends the Seattle possession with a takeaway.
Yeah, that ball, I don't want to call it a heat seeker because it was a bit underthrown, but looking for the rookie T. DeQueen there, and Kaufman just gets a great read on it, and because of the slight underthrow, is able to stretch himself through the air in order to pick that ball off, and Motor City now finds themselves with the worst field position they have, but it's from an interception, so a kind of a net positive there.
Yep, and with that 5th interception of the season, Kaufman moves into a tie with David Leathers for most on the team. Nice job by Creato waiting for the play to develop and finding his tight end across the middle.
Yeah, Phil Kaz has been one of the 2 primary targets here for Motor City. Guy Clausen and Baloo Scott have been kind of the centerpieces for this Motor City offense, targeted 75, 74, and 75 times respectfully. Baloo Scott currently leads the team in receptions with 70.
But Phil Kaz leads the team in receiving yards with 655. Weak side handoff and a crunching tackle made right at the midfield stripe. David Horrell got back there to end that Baloo Scott run.
Yeah, and David Horrell in that game last week against Canton was relatively quiet until later on in the game. But he's been proven to be a menace to just anybody who has the football. He's over 100 tackles so far this season.
That one just barely short of the line to gain. That might be a spot of the ball thing, as Shane Kaufman did well to grab the pass. And I've noticed a lot of Motor City's modus operandi on offense is to the flat, be that either with the running backs out of the backfield or the wide receivers and tight ends. They snap it on 4th and 1, and it's picked up. Baloo Scott falls forward and moves the chains.
Yeah, I definitely thought for a moment that Motor City might be trying to pull the front four of Seattle off sides again. But the rookies have proven to be incredibly disciplined in that regard. But Baloo Scott only needed a yard, and she got it pretty handily.
Well, Creates goes down again. Another sack for the Seattle defense. Catherine Horrell, her second.
Yeah, second verse, same as the first for Catherine Horrell. She's already tied her sack number from the last game, and it's only the second quarter, Mike.
Excuse me, that was her third sack, not second.
Oh, Lord.
Underneath passes caught, but just back to the original line of scrimmage and a little bit more for Orain Darby. First time the former Mexico City Aztec has touched the ball today.
Okay, so I stand corrected. KT Horrell has become even more of a menace between this week and last. Catherine, I'm sorry, not KT.
Yeah, Catherine Horrell, 3 sacks last game, only 3 for the season coming in, so she has doubled her sack total for the year in the first quarter and a half here this evening, as again it's going to be 4th down as Kaufman couldn't find the sticks.
Yeah, a half-decent drive for Motor City. They do have a successful 4th down conversion. I think it's smart punting this here, being it's 4th and 3 and not 4th and 1.
And this has been the punting situation every time for Pickles. He has been able to just dial it up, drop it in the bucket, but that time it takes a Seattle bounce and rolls into the end zone. So the Nemesis will get the ball at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, there's just not enough backspin on that punt, which is something Pickles has been incredible at so far in this one, with 3 punts inside of the 10, 2 inside of the 5. That one, unfortunately, doesn't go Motor City's way, as Seattle will start on their own 20.
High formation, but they're going to throw. Time for Blanton, and it's almost intercepted again. King Rashid had a shot at it. Savo Kanan had a shot at it, and it eventually hits the turf, much to the relief of everybody wearing green and gray.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to give credit to Seattle's defensive line to give Blanton enough time to get that ball off. And a part of it, I think, is just Seattle making sure that Motor City knows to respect the arm of Trellis Blanton. He doesn't tend to go deep very often, but as we've seen a couple times so far in this one, he's definitely capable of airing it out deep if he sees the opportunity.
I stand corrected on the previous play. It was Nicholas Warner who had the first shot at the interception. Either way, it's 2nd and 10. I don't mind taking the shot on 1st down. Blanton's sidearm laser beam across the middle, and it finds empty air, and it's 3rd and 10. Yeah,
another intended for Tita Queen. She's been doing a great job getting some separation on the defending secondary member, but the passes from Blanton just haven't really clicked like they did last week.
Seattle looking for, I believe, only their 2nd 1st down conversion of the game. Blanton airs it out, intercepted again. It's Kaufman again. He's got 2 picks in 2 drives and sets the V8s up in prime time territory at the Seattle 31.
Yeah, it's not really looking great for this pass offense. Again, I think Blanton just didn't quite read DeQueen's route correctly and ends up throwing it behind her. And Mike Kaufman is there to just catch it like an outfielder under a pop fly, making it almost look too easy for the Motor City defense here.
Speaking of pop flies, Kaufman, like Kaufman Stadium, the home of City Royals. I don't know. It's late. Handoff to Baloo Scott, loses 2 yards. The SFL network is coming to ESTV Plus. The app 24/7 SFL programming will include content created by the community, the SFL's greatest games from the archives, exclusive network content, and live SFL regular season games. Download the ESTV Plus app on your Android, iPhone, or TV through Roku, Amazon Fire, Vizio, and more. The SFL network, where SFL creators come together. Baloo Scott gets back to the original line of scrimmage, 3rd down and 10.
Yeah, combo stop there by Greg Ward, the other defensive tackle, and Matthias Citrion, the rookie outside linebacker out of Lincoln.
Three-step drop, again to the sideline it goes. Kaufman picks it up, but cannot turn it forward for the 1st down. 4th and 5 from the Seattle 26. This is definitely in Caleb Richards' effective range, so he will attempt to double the Motor City lead. As Aaron, we head towards halftime already. There's only 3:23 and counting left in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, this game has gone by surprisingly quickly, considering how much of a defensive slugfest this is.
This will be about a 43-yarder, which is good, and probably would have been good from 53, considering the leg that Caleb Richards has. And it is 6-0 Motor City. The SFL Weekly Fantasy Contest is officially up and running. You can draft the best team every week while staying under the salary cap, or maybe you just want to enhance your SFL experience. Free to play, no season-long commitment, and a new contest opens every week on Tuesday night. Join now and show off your fantasy skills to the rest of the league. Contact Jack Wall, Steven Hacker, or Hunter Norwood to join today. Decent starting field position for Seattle. This will be from their own 30.
Now it's the best field position Seattle's had.
Yeah, and now that they'll try to dig out of a 6-point hole. But for all the field position dominance and all the time of possession dominance that Motor City has had to this point, Seattle can't be too unhappy about only being down 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely unfortunate they haven't really been able to get any big drives going, but with plenty of time left in this game, I think Seattle's kind of fine just settling down a bit, giving Blanton some time to get his composure back, having thrown 2 straight interceptions. It's definitely still within the realm of possibility here for Seattle to get their 2nd win.
Offset eye, they hand to the fullback Scott Powell, nowhere to go that time. And it'll be 3rd down and 3. The offensive numbers kind of speak for themselves. 4 punts for each team, only 4 first downs gained for Motor City, only 2 times moving the chains for Seattle. Wells on 3rd and 3. That's a risky play, and he doesn't quite get there. Nicholas Warder, like a heat-seeking missile from the safety spot, comes up to make the tackle.
And that's the 2-minute warning.
We do indeed have the 2-minute warning of the first half. Motor City up by 6 against the Seattle Nemesis. Watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on Twitch. Michael Truvillo and Aaron Alexander with you on this late night of SFL action, just past 10 p.m. here on the Eastern Seaboard. On 4th and inches, they decide to punt, and Lilac Butte's kick is almost blocked, and Motor City will have a minute 23 They go from their deepest starting field position of the ball game, their own 25, into field goal range or potentially into the end zone.
Yeah, Motor City does have time to try and extend this lead, but with the way they've been playing, there's a part of me that doesn't think they're gonna get there, but we still got a lot of time left.
It's very slow and very methodical as there's a run up the gut from Baloo Scott, the rookie out of Albuquerque. Overall pick number 101 in last season's rookie draft.
Second and 6 from 29 yards.
Been a big asset so far this season for Motor City, especially in the pass game.
Time nothing doing for the fullback Dean. 3rd and 7. Baloo Scott on the season before this game. 163 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, but 171 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, which is where she has been primarily utilized in this offense. Creates it on 3rd and 7, gonna air it out. Gonna be tipped and picked! It was tipped by Kai, it was picked by Smoker, and with 52 seconds to go, Seattle has the ball back in Motor City territory.
That is exactly what Seattle needed to turn momentum in their favor. They've been kind of on the back foot for a while in this one, especially after the 2 interceptions, but Ethan Kai to Kevin Smoker makes this a much better situation for the Nemesis going into halftime.
That almost looked like a volleyball pass from Ethan Kai. Just put it right up where Kevin Smoker could come down with it. Smoker, the 4th round selection out of Ottawa.
Ethan Kai literally said, set it and forget it.
3rd pick of the season for him. Plenty of time for Blanton to aim and fire, but again, only finding empty air over the middle of the field. 2nd down.
For some reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Blanton either something, he got hit earlier in the game and his vision's a little funky, or he's missing his glasses or something, because some of these passes have been almost widely outside of the area of their intended target.
This time the pocket collapses and down goes Blanton. Couldn't quite see who got back there to make the sack. It was Levi Eugene for Motor City.
Yeah, the backup defensive tackle getting a big sack there. To set up a 3rd and long here for Seattle. Maybe that sack was the corrective vision process that Blanton needed, though, to try and convert this long 3rd down.
3rd and 14. He's going to need time in the pocket. The offensive line's going to have to play well to help him get him there. He does find the time. He floats it over the defense, but it's just too far in front of Zachary Patton to be able to turn up field and get the 1st down.
But it is decently within Christian Ronald Sue's range, so I think we're going to see the kicker come out and try and reduce this lead to 3 here right before the half.
That was a clutch throw by Blanton. Put it up to where only his receiver could grab it. And Christian Ronald Suey from 46 yards away. It is good, and Suey maintains his perfect record on the season, now 10 for 10.
Yeah, he looked like he could have hit that one from 46. 56. That's the number I meant to say. It's great.
He did hit it from 46. You're correct.
But a good drive by Seattle. Their best drive of the night so far cuts the lead by Motor City in half.
And again, field position game. When Motor Cities had the advantage in field position, they took a 6-0 lead off of turnovers. Seattle took advantage of a turnover with good field position and cut the deficit down to 3.
Yeah, the biggest bright spot so far is both these teams have managed to convert points off of turnovers. So if both these teams can continue to do that in this one, the score line in this game could become explosive.
34 seconds left to go until halftime. Underarm throw by Creata, caught by Cause. He lands in bounds, and Motor City is not taking any timeouts, so this one might take us to the intermission.
Yeah, and I think that's smart by Motor City because I believe, if memory serves, that they do get the ball to start the second half.
They do indeed. They're lined up to run one more play, 8 seconds left. They'll get it off, hand it to Baloo Scott, who spins and is actually tackled after a gain of a couple. 3rd and 1. They'll call timeout here, will Motor City. Head
But
coach
why,
Andrew
though?
O'Reilly maybe trying to die something up here.
But why, though?
Yeah,
You get-
that's what I'm saying.
I don't... Huh?
Meanwhile, it's the 3rd quarter of our other late game of the night. Queen City and Portland meeting for the first time in each of their franchises' histories are tied at 17. 3rd and 1, they're going to run the football. Baloo Scott gets tackled in bounds, and that'll take us to the half. Not a lot of offense, a lot of good defense, though. 6-3 Motor City in a field position battle. We head to the break. Simulation Football League, presented by APM Music on Flip. Saddling up for the second half, the Motor City V8s in their Detroit City alternates. The color scheme is a tribute to the Lions. The logo and uniform design, a tribute to their former identity as the St. Louis Gladiators. Lead the Seattle Nemesis at home, leading up to playing their first straight home game, looking for their 2nd straight win, which would be their first winning streak in team history after they got their first win in team history last week against Canton. Welcome back into the broadcast period. My name is Michael Trevello. Happy to have your company. Aaron Alexander is alongside me. We've got Tristan Hatley and Rochelle Colston running statistics for us this evening. And Cameron Irvine, as always, is producer extraordinaire. Ibrahim Creata drops back, hands it off to Baloo Scott. That'll technically go down as a pass, even though it was more like a pitch run. And they will get only 1 yard out of it.
You can't see my face right now, Mike, but I'm still incredibly baffled by Motor City's decision to call a timeout with 3 seconds left just to run the ball again. A decent first play, though, to start the half for Motor City.
That's one thing we didn't really see in the first half, was Baloo Scott in the passing game. This time it's Dean putting on some spin moves and dancing his way to a 3rd down and 1 situation, gain of 8.
Yeah, that has been the 2nd best run by any back in this one so far. The longest has been a 17-yarder by Jalen Wells for Seattle. Christopher Dean, the fullback, did a great job on that one to pick up 8.
3rd and 1. Seattle stacks the box. Motor City runs the ball, and Baloo Scott is stood up at the line of scrimmage by Matthias Citrion.
Yeah, a great job by the Seattle defense. They crowded the box expecting a run. Motor City doesn't make any adjustments at the line in order to maybe change the play up. And Motor City's first drive of this second half is going to stutter as Pickle's going to punt this ball away from the deepest we've seen him so far in this one.
His own 20-yard line, the 5th punt of the game for Motor City. Seattle has also punted 5 times. And the Nemesis will start their first offensive possession of the second half at their own 41. It's been a interesting night for Trellis Blanton so far. 6 for 15, 40% completion. 2 interceptions on the evening.
2 yards of attempt and a QBR of 8.3. It has not been Blanton's day so far.
He'll take the 7-step drop. Goes short over the middle, complete to Zachary Patton. On the other side, Ibrahim Creata is 13 of 18, 72% completion. Only one interception, no touchdowns, obviously, a QBR of 60. But a lot of Creata's passes are short and to the flat, where it's easy for those receivers to make the grab.
Yeah, he's pulled out a couple big ones, though. He's had a 24-yarder to Shane Kaufman and a 19 to Phil Kaz, and Creata almost at the century mark as far as pass yards go.
This time, the Seattle fullback getting involved. That's Scott Powell pushing the pile forward. 3rd down and 5. And again, in the first half, Seattle only gained 2 first downs. And
Yeah,
yet
Motor
they're
City's
still only down 3.
Yeah, Motor City's defense has been doing a great job preventing.
And there's a 3rd interception. And this one could go back for 6. It is David Leathers. He says, give me back that lead in interceptions on the team, and I'll take this one back for a house call.
And what I was going to say was that Motor City's defense has been doing a good job at preventing Seattle from moving the ball. And it's plays like that that are the reason that Seattle's been struggling, as the veteran Leathers goes like 60 yards on the return, and Motor City now find themselves potentially going up by 10. Who saw that coming?
I mean, if you'd asked me to predict how points would be scored, seeing that first half, I probably would have betted on a pick 6, right? But you're right. It is a little out of the ordinary considering these quarterbacks don't really like to throw it downfield into traffic that much. I mean, Blanton has had to out of necessity because of field position and down and distance. But Motor City does kick the extra point. They go up by 10, 13-3.
Yeah, at this point, Blanton on the sideline is having a intense talk with head coach Ethan Kai, just to try and calm him down, get his head back in the game, keep his focus, try and prevent mistakes like that from happening again.
Zachary Patton on the return, out to the 30.
Yeah, Patton's been doing a great job as the return man here for Seattle this season. Currently leads the league in total returns, was first in yards for a while, currently sits second at over 1,500.
Seattle may be tempted to throw the ball more now that they're down by 10, but this will be an outside run to Jalen Wells, not going to go anywhere. First to the scene on the tackle, Dion Lane Barney. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for info about the league and its 28 teams, all the places you can watch live games, plus links to apparel from Sector 6 and SFL mini helmets from 97 sports promotions. See the league records, team stats, player leaderboards, the rankings of the next class of SFL talent, and so much more. SimulationFL.net, your home for everything SFL. It has been a slugfest up the middle for Seattle. There's nothing going on in the run game as Kanan shuts that one down.
Yeah, Jalen Wells saw that the hole he was intended to go through closed up and tried to bounce it outside. Kanan, though, just in the right place to stop that dead in its tracks.
Another 3rd and long, another deep pass, another tip, and it eventually finds the turf. Incomplete.
Yeah, David Leathers there on the defense again. And yeah, Seattle is struggling a lot in this one so far offensively.
I can see the theory of Seattle's offense, and I understand and like what they're trying to do. They're trying to use the run to set up the pass, get a couple of yards on 1st and 2nd down, make it a 3rd manageable, throw a short route over the middle. The problem is Motor City has shut down the run game for Seattle to such an extent that they're not getting those couple of yards on 1st and 2nd down. And as a result, Trellis Blanton is faced with 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 10 plus, and he's going to have to just throw something deep.
Yeah, and I think Motor City has recognized that that's Seattle's modus operandi and has just been ruthless in shutting it down to a degree where they have a 10-point lead despite their offense also kind of struggling.
Scott spins and gets clobbered by David Horrell. All three of these Horrells on this team, Catherine, KT, and David, come from the Texas teams. Catherine transferred from Fort Worth, KT and David from Houston. All three have been All-Stars at least once. Replay for the V8s. It's actually not a bad run from Christopher Dean. The last 2 times he's touched the ball, I've been impressed with his shiftiness between the tackles.
Neutral zone infraction, number 60. Defense, 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, that neutral zone infraction called on Aaron Stein, the defensive end. So the discipline of this rookie trio cracks a little bit under the pressure as Motor City finds themselves with a very, very short second down situation.
2nd and 2, split backs, handed off, and there goes Baloo Scott. Finally, a hole worth running to, and she picks up a 1st down almost to midfield.
And again, I had the pleasure of coaching Baloo Scott out in Albuquerque during that championship run they had last season. And while she, especially here in Motor City, hasn't really been able to break out anything super, super big, these small chunks of yardage are going a long way here for the V8s.
Flip back again, into the flat it goes. Azami Mihata picks up the catch and picks up 7 yards as well.
Yeah, the fullback convert doing a great job here as the number 3 tight end for the V8s. Their first catch of the ball game.
Motor City's offensive scheme relies on those quick outside passes to draw the linebackers away from the middle of the field. Nice run by Baloo Scott through the first level, easily tackled by the linebackers, but not before she picks up a 1st down. But speaking of the linebackers, it's in the intent of those short out route passes is to draw the linebackers away from the middle, so when they decide to run the ball, there's less resistance for Scott and Dean. Another movement change. This is the most efficient drive that Motor City has had so far this evening. 2 yards on 1st down from Christopher Dean.
Yeah, and so far their game plan has been kind of working. Scott and Dean haven't really gotten necessarily large chunks of yardage, but it's been enough for Motor City to get in a decent enough field position to bring Richards out to get these field goals.
Creative again to the flat, caught. 3rd down and 3. The SFL Minor League is about to begin once again. Games kick off Friday, October 14th on the SFL YouTube channel, and it's not too late to create your player and get him or her involved in the next rookie class. Season 20's rookie draft takes place December 17th and 18th, so don't miss your chance. The sooner you create your player, the better your player will be on draft day. For more information, visit simulationfl.net. That one was almost blown up in the backfield. Baloo Scott keeps the legs churning and picks up a 1st down to the Seattle 29.
Yeah, and Motor City has been, as you said, incredibly efficient on this one. I thought for a moment Baloo Scott didn't get to the 1st down marker, but R62 very generous on the ball spot there, in my opinion.
Creator over the middle, diving grab on the post. And that is Orain Darby, only his 2nd catch of the ball game.
Yeah, and it's a good one. Just a nice post route up the middle and nobody on the Seattle secondary was really in the area or had a zone coverage that covered that particular part of the field. And guess what? Motor City is in Seattle's red zone again.
This is the longest drive of the game by either team. This is the 10th play of the drive. To the flat, tapping the toes, and picking up 7 yards is Shane Kaufman.
Yeah, Kaufman has been putting in a bulk of the work offensively here in the pass game. He's got 8 receptions now for 58 yards and 10 targets. I do want to speak for a moment on the minor leagues. The first week of games features a pretty big matchup. The 2-time champion Albuquerque Adams will play against the 2-time champion Madison Lynx.
Blue Scott races for the pylon but does not get there. Ethan Kai made the stop at the 1-yard line, but it's still 1st and goal from inside the 2.
Yeah, didn't get the touchdown, but does reset the down marker to give Motor City 3 chances to try and shove this ball into the Seattle end zone for the first offensive touchdown of this game. It might happen, Mike.
Blue Scott up the middle, falls backwards, and gets into the end zone for her 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. And the Motor City V8s extend the lead to 17 pending the extra point.
Yeah, and that's just great awareness by Blue Scott, recognizing that if she doesn't, spin backwards to fall, that she doesn't score on that play, but gets the quick turnout and falls into the end zone to extend this Motor City lead even further.
Extra point up and good. 20-3. Motor City has come out of the second half with vicious intent. They have scored the last 17 points, and it is 20-3 V8s over Seattle. And this game is quickly slipping away from the nemesis.
Motor City finally installing the turbocharger to their engine to add a bit more horsepower to their offense.
I wouldn't say turbocharger quite yet. Let's just go with a little bit of nitros first.
I mean, listen, they've scored 14 of the last 17 points between these two teams. I think they're entitled to get a little bit more boost than just a short burst of nitrous in the intake valves.
Seattle gonna have to answer here. 2:14 to go in the third, as they now find themselves down by 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Wells has a lane, and he almost got to the numbers, but Nicholas Warner was there to bring him down.
Yeah, a great job by Jalen Wells to try and get something going. This defense, though, just, again, has been absolutely smothering Jalen Wells and the entire receiving core here for Seattle.
Second and 6, 3 receivers set. Blanton goes weak side, fighting close to the first down marker is Zachary Patton. The former Jacksonville King has been the featured receiver wearing green and gray tonight. And he almost moves the chains, 3rd and 1.
Yeah, a former Lexington Miner these past couple of seasons has had, as you said, the bulk of the work here for Seattle. 11 targets, 6 receptions.
Look out. Here goes Wells, bouncing it outside into the secondary and brought down by Kanan at midfield. So Seattle now responding with their best drive of the game. They've picked up 2 first downs on this possession as well.
Yeah, I definitely think there was an opportunity for Jalen Wells if he just bounced it to the right side of his blocking lineman there. But still a great chunk of yardage for Wells on that one's going to set Seattle up at midfield.
Blanton scans the defense, sees the 3 linebackers out there, goes into the flat, he's turning upfield, spinning his way for a first down is Zachary Patton.
Yeah, finally Patton is able to get a first down on one of these passes. And it's coming a good time. We're approaching the end of the third quarter. Seattle's down by 17. And this is the type of drive that Seattle needed, and they just need to keep this pressure up.
As we run down under 30 seconds to go in quarter number 3. Blanton to the air into triple coverage and incomplete. Trying to hit the smallest of windows. I think they're going to credit Timothy Connolly, the 4th round pick out of Ottawa, with the deflection.
That one intended for David Gears, another former Lexington Miner, a teammate actually of Zachary Patton, down in the minors. Unfortunately, not able to get his hands on that pass.
2nd down and 10. D-line shifts, no pressure from the linebackers on this one. Only a 4-man rush. Nice pocket and a nice back shoulder throw as well to T. DeQueen. Sets up 3rd and a manageable 4.
Yeah, T. DeQueen finally able to get her hands on a pass. She's been targeted 4 times prior, and they haven't really gone well. I believe 2 or 3 of those were interceptions, but finally gets one on a short out route, sets up a 3rd and medium here for Seattle.
They go to the trusty out route, and it is converted for a 1st down. That's DeQueen's 2nd straight catch. On the season, T. DeQueen, 425 yards and 2 touchdowns on the season. She is primarily a deep threat.
Yeah, and she's been she's had a great rookie season. Excuse me, that's what I'm trying to say. As we reach the end of quarter number 3 here, Mike.
Scores up. It's time for the final frame. BH 20. Nemesis 3, but Seattle is driving down the field. This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on Twitch. First play of the 4th quarter is a laser beam of a pass that's hauled in by Zachary Patton for a gain of 3. APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. That ball led Patton a little bit too far out of bounds. 3rd down and 7, and this is where Seattle has struggled tonight, Aaron. It's 3rd and long.
Yeah, Seattle's going to challenge it, though, and I definitely agree with this here. I do think that Patton had a foot in bounds when he caught that ball, so I believe this one is going to be overturned, and we're going to see Seattle set up for a much more manageable 3rd and 3.
Let's take a look at the replay here. That's close. It depends on if his back foot was in the air when he caught the ball or if it was dragging.
After review, the pass has been ruled complete.
And it was dragging on the ground. Seattle,
The home team will not be charged
with an excellent use of the challenge there by Ethan Kai, will have 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, Ethan Kai doing some impressive work here for Seattle. Not only the head coach, but also one of their star corners here for the Nemesis.
7 in the box for Motor City. On 3rd down and 2, it's going to be a give to the feature back, Jalen Wells, and it is blown up in the backfield. The defense read that one all the way, and the tackle was made by Doug Howard.
Yeah, the defensive end comes up big on 3rd down for Motor City. Going to see Ronald Sue come out for his 2nd field goal try of the ball game.
Hit a 46-yarder, this one from 43, and it is no good. Bonked it off the left upright, and Seattle remains at just 3 points. That's Sue's first miss of the season.
That's unfortunate. I don't even think it hit the upright, Mike. I think he just pushed it just ever so slightly wide, and Oh, man, that hurts if you're a Nemesis fan.
A chance to turn some momentum back in your favor at the start of the fourth quarter goes by the wayside. And now Motor City with the 17-point lead and the ball. They're going to hand it off to Blue Scott, who got a little bit of her feet under her on the last drive, eventually punching that touchdown in. Nice tackle by KT Hall, though means it's only a gain of 1.
Yeah, and Seattle's defense really needs to either force a 3-and-out here or force a fumble, force an interception. Seattle needs momentum to shift in their favor desperately.
Cause can't quite get away from the reaching arms of Daniel Valentine, the former Carolina Skyhawk. And it is 3rd down. Tomorrow on Next Level Sports, coverage of the Simulation Football League continues at 8:45 p.m. as Florida tries to keep its slim lead in the East Division at rival Denver, plus live look-ins on San Diego in desperation mode visiting Lone Star. For channel guide and more info about NXT, visit NLSE.com. Third and 1. Creates it to throw. Plenty of time in the pocket. And it's knocked down by Matthias Citrion.
Yeah, that is exactly what Seattle needed. They finally got the 3-and-out. We'll have to see, though, if Motor City tries the old bait and switch again, tries to pull this young a defensive front 4 off sides again to reset the down marker, or if we see Pickles come out to punt this one away.
I think they're going to punt. You've got a safe lead. Your defense has been doing a fantastic job, and you're on your own side of the field, so if you don't get it, oh my goodness, there's a penalty flag down.
Is it delay of game?
I know, I think Seattle jumped on the punt, and Motor City's drive will continue.
Oh, no. That was encroachment on number 35. That's Sonny Reiser, one of the backup quarterbacks. And the disaster continues for Seattle as Motor City gets gifted a first down on 4th and 1 as they were about to punt it away.
It is stormy weather for the Nemesis tonight, something that Seattle residents are all too familiar with.
To say it's always stormy. We're in Seattle.
This time, a nice pass grabbed out of the air by, I believe that's Guy Clausen for the first time we've seen tonight. No, that's Orain Darby again. Haven't seen Clausen make a catch. We've seen
I don't think he's been
Mejada
targeted.
and Cause been featured. He hasn't been targeted at all, no. Only player on this V8 offense without a target. Again, it's Darby. And Darby is just shy. Oh no, there's Guy Clausen.
It's Clausen.
We mentioned it. We mentioned his name as not having a target, and it's like they can read our minds. And he makes a nice catch to set up 3rd and 1.
Listen, the 9 and the 6, it's late in the night. We're getting them flipped around.
Blue Scott tasked to pick up this 1-yard gain, and she does just that, falling forward into Seattle territory to the 45.
Gets the yard and a couple more, pushes the V8 into Seattle territory now, and they're playing time of possession football, which has been their MO all season, and in this instance, it's working incredibly well in their favor.
There is Scott showing off a little bit of the speed she has, gets a first down with a gain of 10.
Been the longest run Blue Scott has had all night, but the short runs that she's gotten has been incredibly clutch, especially on 3rd down. And Seattle going to throw the challenge flag out again. Why not?
I guess to see if they can try and get the V8s off the field. What I was going to say is This type of offense from Motor City works wonders when you have a lead because you can just drain the clock away and oftentimes not give your opponent a chance to respond at all.
I mean, after the replay, I definitely think this is getting pulled back a yard. Admittedly, I don't understand why you throw the challenge flag there, though. That was a run on first down.
Charge with a timeout.
I mean, Seattle gets it, so it'll be second and half an inch.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't they get a challenge flag back after 2 successful?
I'm not sure how that works. We don't often see more than 1 challenge per side per game. Creates time, shifts around the pocket, finds the open receiver at the 20. O'Rain Darby has emerged as the primary target in this second half, and he makes Seattle pay.
Yeah, you have to give credit to the McMillans, though. Catherine Horrell looked like she had a chance to potentially sack Ibrahim Krieta here, but the center, Gil McMillan, does a great job getting the pickup block on Horrell and gives Krieta enough time to get that ball to Darby for a huge first down into Seattle's red zone.
McMillan O-line showing up tonight. Bill, Phil, and Gil, all 3 of them picking up big blocks on that last play as Shane Kaufman, not to be outdone, is down to the Seattle 9 after a gain of 8.
And this has been the most exciting drive we've had all night, and it started because of an encroachment call on 4th and 1.
The punt unit was out there. It's not like they were hard counting trying to draw them off. Krieta steps up, throws to the far sideline, and incomplete. Looking for the outlet to Christopher Dean.
Yeah, a bit late on the throw to Dean. Let him a bit too much. Still 3rd and manageable, though, here for Motor City. Seattle just needs to put up the carbon steel wall, the titanium wall here, to prevent Motor City from converting.
Baloo Scott turns the corner and fights through the contact of Matthias Citrion to pick up the first.
Yeah, that's not going to do it for Seattle. Motor City now find themselves with a fresh set of downs here, 5 yards from Pater, looking to extend this lead even further.
With just over 5 minutes to go, this one could be the end of the line for the Nemesis. Scott looking for her second touchdown, nowhere to go.
Now they'll credit her with roughly a yard there. Good enough for extending this clock drain that Motor City is on at the moment.
Sprint drive. Krieta spins away, goes down. Couldn't find anybody open in the end zone. And the coach, part of me, is going, why are you throwing the ball?
There's a part of me that's not exactly mad at it. I thought that O'Rain Darby out of the slot may have had a chance to get open, but the secondary for Seattle just covered up the passing lanes too well, and Krieta just didn't have any option than to just take that sack, except maybe throwing the ball away.
And now on 3rd and goal from the 12, you've got to go to the air if you want any shot at a touchdown, you'd think.
You definitely have the right of it, and I think that's what Motor City's going to do here, Mike.
Creative 3-step drop. Waits for his friends downfield to come open, and nobody was open. They were obscured by the curtain of rain that Seattle is very well known for, and the Seattle defense as well, as the defense gets home for a second straight sack. Greg Ward, the rookie out of San Jose, forces them back again. This will be a 3rd field goal attempt for Caleb Richards. He hit the first 2. This would be the shortest one of the night from about 33.
The Nemesis channeling the fog here in Seattle in order to push back the V8s out of touchdown range. Unfortunately, not quite enough as Motor City now extend their lead to 20.
That play was 16 plays, 50 yards, covering over 5 minutes of clock time.
Yeah, didn't get the touchdown they might have wanted, but I think they drained enough time off the clock for Seattle to start sweating on the sidelines because they need to get 3 touchdowns to come back and even to potentially tie this game up.
As we wind down here tonight, Aaron, I want to give a special attention to the playoff standings because those playoffs are creeping up on you faster than than everybody wants to admit. The season's almost over here in week 12. And the teams on the bubble at 5 and 4, that would be Las Vegas and Tulsa, got a big boon yesterday as all of the other teams on the bubble that are 4 and 5 lost yesterday. So Tulsa and Las Vegas, if they hold serve, potentially the driver's seat for those final couple of playoff spots.
Yeah, Vegas has a tough task ahead of them, though, as they play Houston tomorrow. Houston, of course, should they win that game, would move ahead into the lead in the South Division due to the head-to-head tiebreaker over Fort Worth, who they play in Week 14. That game may end up being for the division title.
Yeah, plus the head-to-head win over Mexico City, so Houston definitely controls their own destiny in the South. And even though my sleeper pick to make a run at the title is Mexico City, they have stumbled a bit down the stretch. They're now 7 and 3, I believe.
Yes.
Again, Wells nowhere to go off the short pass, and this will be a quick 3-and-out for the Nemesis. And this could be the last time they touch the ball with the way Motor City has played in this second half.
Yeah, you definitely have the right of it. Motor City has been playing incredibly well, especially in the second half. You do mention Mexico City. They beat Louisiana yesterday in a nail-biting finish to go up to 7 and 3. They're still at present second in the South, again due to their loss the week previous to the aforementioned Toros.
How strong is the South, though? You've got the Toros at 7 and 3, the Aztecs at 7 and 3. Houston could be 7 and 3 if they win tomorrow.
Yeah, the colloquially known as Tex-Mex division, especially this season, has been just incredibly strong, to the point where there is a possibility that all 4 teams in the South could make the playoffs.
I'm gonna borrow a term from international soccer and call it the group of death. And if you had asked me to pick a group of death this season, before the season started, that is not where I would have gone. I might have gone for the Pacific if Portland was much improved, if San Diego was much improved. That obviously didn't turn out to be correct. I might have gone for the North. We know London is 9-0 and very much improved this year. DC is up there at 8-1. But the East has underperformed as Florida is 5 and 4, and they're in the lead of that division.
I'm actually going to counter you on that one, Mike, because of the potential for all 4 teams to make playoffs. I wouldn't call the South a group of death necessarily. In fact, I'd call them a group of life.
Yeah, the group of death implies that only a certain number of teams are going to get out of it. And so if you have 4 strong teams, some of them has to draw by the wayside. And unfortunately, for my metaphor, that's not how football works.
Yeah, if anything, the North that Motor City is in would be the group of death, as there's only one team that's above 500, and it's the undefeated London Knights as we hit 2 minutes.
2 minutes to go. We're going to continue to talk about the playoff picture and things happening around the league, as Motor City's got this one well in hand. 23-3 is our score with 2 minutes to go. This is the Simulation Football League on Twitch, presented by APM Music. Thank you all for spending your Saturday night with us, as you have done all season long, and for the last 19 seasons. It's insane to think that in January coming up, it will be 10 years of SFL football.
It's hard to believe it's been 10 years already. I haven't even been in the league that long, and I'm surprised how long I've been here already.
Yeah, actually, this season is my 10th season calling SFL games, so a bit of a milestone there. But back to the league at large as Caleb Richards sets up for a 41-yard field goal. He's been impressive tonight, 3 for 3 so far. And this one is right down Main Street from 41 yards, make it 4 for 4, 26-3, Motor City. I want to mention the story of the season in the SFL, in my opinion. It's not London going undefeated. It's not Baltimore tearing up the league. It's not DC being a dark horse championship contender. It's the Minnesota Legend, baby, coming out of nowhere, the best expansion team by far, and has emerged as kind of a dark horse to make the playoffs. And not just make the playoffs, make a run.
Yeah, not only have they had a great season so far, I believe they're 6-4 now. They've impressed in back-to-back weeks with wins over both Baltimore and DC.
Two of the teams in the league that are likely getting buys coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a part of me feels that the top 3 seeds are basically set, right? You have the undefeated London Knights, you have Baltimore, and you have DC. That last 4th seed is kind of up in the air, and realistically, it's probably going to go to the South Division winner.
I mean, you still have Arizona, although they did lose this week. They're 6-4 and leading the West, closely followed, I might add. So actually, their division is up for grabs still. The Scorpions should still make it in with 6 wins. But again, Sioux Falls, they're leading the Central at 5-4. Minnesota right there at 5-4.
It's a cluster, Mike. It's an absolute cluster, this playoff situation right now. I think this may be the closest that it's been in recent memory.
Oh, I would talk to Cam about that. There have been very, very late nights at league headquarters trying to figure out who gets into the playoffs. That's a nice catch over the middle by Zachary Patton as Seattle goes up tempo with in the last minute and a half. A team that we haven't talked about yet that we probably should be talking about is Vancouver. They have been up and down this season. They're currently 6-4, a team that almost went all the way last year, falling in the semifinals to Lone Star, and a team that lost a lot of pieces over the offseason, but brought in pieces that have worked well at times for Vancouver. And, you know, who knows? I wouldn't want to play the Legion in a first-round playoff game.
You've definitely got the right of it. I wouldn't want to either, as that one's going to be intercepted. It's Mike Kaufman again.
Oh, come on. 3 interceptions on the game for Kaufman as he ties Leathers again for interceptions on the season.
It's just back and forth between these two for the interception lead on the team. And you mentioned Vancouver, but I also want to point out Portland too, who are a game behind Vancouver in the Pacific, who just beat Queen City at the YouTube game that just ended. It's so close for all of these different playoff seeds. I feel bad for anybody doing playoff scenarios right now.
I mean, that would be Cam, most likely. So good luck, my friend, playoff scenario man. It is, I mean, who knows? The next couple of weeks could go all chalk, and we could be looking at our playoffs right now. That is very unlikely.
I mean, I would be okay with it, though. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you would, but I think there were definitely some upsets to be had in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is the Jacksonville win over Arizona. To that point, the only win that Jacksonville had was against Fort Worth earlier in the season, and it gets a big win against Arizona. While it's not gonna be enough for them to make a playoff push, it certainly could play spoiler to Arizona's seeding going into playoffs.
Yeah, and that's a game kind of like the Atlanta-Mexico City game, right? Mexico City was heavily favored going in. Atlanta showed up and got the victory at home, and that kind of threw the Aztecs season out of whack because, as you said, the rest of the division is all so good, they can't really afford to slip up.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the kind of the division to watch these next specifically these next 2 weeks. With Fort Worth playing Arizona next week, that could be for a elevated playoff seed. Of course, you've got Mexico City Lone Star and Houston Fort Worth in week 14. Oh goodness, that division being still up for grabs at this point of the season, especially being in that division, is nerve-wracking.
Tight races all across the board. The playoff race will shake itself out over the next 2 weeks. And I've been asking every analyst I've worked with for the past couple of weeks this question, Aaron. Disregarding Fort Worth, to remove any sort of bias, who is your sleeper pick? Not necessarily to win the title, but to potentially make a deep run, quarterfinal, semifinal, and we're all going to be looking there at the end of the season going, how did they get there?
I mean, you've already mentioned it, Minnesota. Of course, a part of it, it's very easy to look at their wins against Baltimore and DC. It's like, oh, that's just obvious. But the fact that this is their first season in existence, and the front office staff there and the ownership of Axel Raven and BJ Loveless have done an excellent job this season getting the pieces together and running their team in a way that they have the opportunity not only to make playoffs in their debut season, but potentially make a deep run in playoffs.
And they might be the only expansion team to make it to the postseason. Canton is the closest, behind them at 4-5, although 4-6 now after yesterday. So they're going to have to win out and hope for some help.
Yeah, Canton needs a lot of help to make it into playoffs. They don't have the option of a division win because they're in the north with London.
Back to action with 22 seconds to go. Jalen Wells scampers out of bounds after picking up a first down.
Yeah, and it's... I mean, Seattle definitely, I think, had a good game plan. I think Motor City just came in too prepared for it. Plus, all of the points they managed off of turnovers were absolutely huge for the V8s in this one.
5 turnovers for Seattle this evening, only 1 for Motor City. Here's an interesting stat for you, Aaron. Average yards per play, 3 for Motor City, 2.4 for Seattle. And you look at the final score, and those numbers really don't match up. But again, it was all field position and points off of turnovers.
Yeah, the biggest reason that Motor City was able to score as often as they did was a lot of credit goes to their punter, because of all of the times that he managed to pin Seattle deep in their own territory. He had at least 3 punts this evening drop inside the 10. A couple were inside the 5.
First down for Seattle, and that will just about do it with 10 seconds to go. It may see one more play. And it'll be a spike, so we will see one more play. Time of possession, the most important stat for this evening's contest. Seattle, 16 minutes. Motor City, 27 minutes. And you got to think that if the V8s don't turn the ball over that one time, that time of possession stat is probably double what Seattle has.
Yeah, and I mean, in this half specifically, it was double what Seattle had. Seattle this half, 7 minutes, 2 seconds total time of possession. Motor City with 14 and a half.
A last desperation heave to the end zone and try and put a touchdown on the board falls well short. The Motor City V8s have won their 3rd game of the season. They take this one 3 behind a 4-for-4 performance from Caleb Richards, a 3-interception performance from Mark Kaufman, and the running capability of Baloo Scott.
Yeah, and I think if we're looking at this objectively, it's probably Richards that's going to end up getting player of the game. But I'll be honest, I think it should go to Pickles, because the biggest reason, and I'll state it again, the biggest reason that Motor City had the opportunities that they had was because of the field position afforded by their punter.
Not often you see a punter with such high praise, but it definitely made the difference in this evening's contest. I was impressed more so with Ibrahim Creator than I probably expected to be. 180 passing yards for QB1, 24 of 31, that's 77% completion, and only 1 interception.
Yeah, of note as well, this win by Motor City stops a 6-game drought, and it gives the V8s a non-zero chance of still making playoffs. Of course, they would need an awful lot to go their way in order for that to happen.
The player of the game is David Leathers, who had the pick 6 that really broke the game open late in the first half. I think the biggest takeaway for Motor City tonight, Aaron, is that they are able to win football games, right?
Yep.
You get on a losing streak like that, you start to get down on yourself. You start maybe thinking, oh, well, kind of what's the point of putting these game plans in every week? To get a win on the board late in the year, it gives you momentum for the offseason. It gives you momentum potentially going into the next season. Remember, Motor City started hot. They started 2-1, so the potential is definitely there.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to give credit to Seattle, too. This game didn't go the way that they wanted. This season hasn't really gone the way that they wanted, but coming into this game, they had the toughest schedule out of any team so far, and to have even the 1 win is impressive, especially considering the quality of the competition that they've come up against.
That'll do it for us. For Michelle Colston and Tristan Hadley on stats, Cameron Irvine, producer as always, Evan Alexander in the booth with me. My name is Michael Gavillo. Thank you very much for staying with us to a very late night of SFL action. We will see you tomorrow on NXT. Have a good night.